If you're a lineman in charge of keeping the lights on, Grainger understands that you go to great lengths and sometimes heights to ensure the power is always flowing, which is why you can count on Grainger for professional-grade products and next-day delivery, so you have everything you need to get the job done. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
It's Thursday, May 22nd, 2025, and you're tuned to The Grind. Welcome, night owls and restless thinkers. I'm Art Grindstone, here to keep the small hours loud with questions the daylight never answers. Tonight, we ride the razor's edge between panic and possibility. First up, the year we're standing in, 2025, has been billed as either the end of everything or the dawn of something utterly new. Doom prophets, quantum optimists, climate alarms, and saber-rattling nations are all pointing at the same calendar page. We'll sift the scare talk from the real science and see whether humanity is skating toward an apocalypse or just another awkward growth spurt. Then, once we've caught our breath, we'll swing the microscope from the cosmic to the truly microscopic, down into the quantum secret of physicist David Bohm. Forget cats in boxes. Bohm insists the entire universe is folded into every speck of reality, like a cosmic origami we haven't learned to unfold. If that sounds like late-night coffee shop philosophy, remember, his math says your coffee mug may be whispering with distant galaxies right now. Try taking a sip without thinking about that. And finally, we close with a mystery that feels all too human. A gifted engineer named Suchir Balaji sounded alarms about how our brightest AI models are trained and, some say, paid the ultimate price. Official reports call his death a tragic accident, but rumor mills keep grinding. Tonight, we'll lay out the hard evidence, debunk the most lurid fantasies, and ask what it will take to protect the truth-tellers we need in this brave, automated world. If all that sounds heavy, relax. I spilled half my cold brew on the console earlier, so the stakes feel personal over here too. We're in this mess together, friends. Let's get to it. Our first story starts now. Is 2025 a ticking bomb or the doorway to tomorrow? Following our introduction, I scroll the fevered wasteland of social media and find it littered with countdown clocks, Pentecostal hashtags, and TikTok prophets lip-syncing Nostradamus. One post with 15 million views declares, "On 11/11/25, the sun will darken," quoting a mistranslated quatrain. Another stitches glassy-eyed ravers onto footage of mushroom clouds. Google Trends shows searches for End Times 2025 up 340% since last winter. Pew Research tells us 39% of young Americans think they'll witness the apocalypse, and somewhere a merch store already sells glow-in-the-dark rapture hoodies. I'm reminded that the Millerites sold their farms before the non-end of 1844, and Y2K panic bought enough beans to feed a small galaxy. New century, same jitters, amplified by algorithms engineered to keep you sweating at 3 a.m., which brings us to the science. Because while doom scrolling goes viral, the United Nations quietly stamped 2025 as the International Year of Quantum Science and sent diplomats off to learn the difference between a qubit and a rabbit hole. Quantum networks connecting 6 continents are feasible within a decade. Nature 2024 writes with unsettling calm. China's Mycius satellite already beamed 8 million entangled photons per second. National University of Science and Technology 2023. IBM promises its 121-qubit Condor chip will run fault-tolerant algorithms by late 2025. IBM roadmap. Add AI models that can fold every known protein in hours, and the narrative flips. Same year, we either unlock near-magical computing or crash reality itself. Optimism hums, yet underneath it, generals still measure victory in megatons. And that's where geopolitics crashes the party. The strategic chessboard looks like it swallowed a bottle of caffeine pills. Moscow froze inspections under new start in February 2023. Washington replied with new hypersonic tests. Beijing launched a satellite killer vehicle that circled the globe twice. Air Force Space Command 2024. CPRI counts 12 512 nuclear warheads with 9 576 in military stockpiles as of this July. Enough, as the understatement goes, to ruin the weekend. Meanwhile, the doomsday clock slid to 90 seconds before midnight, its most pessimistic reading yet. Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists 2024. Add drones buzzing Taiwan's air defense zone and an Indo-Pak border squabble over Himalayan meltwater, and you can taste the coppery tang of miscalculation in the air. Cue the climate alarm bells. Because the planet itself is writing an angry subplot. Copernicus declared 2024, hottest year in 125,000 years. After June, sea surface temperatures hit 21.1 degrees. The World Meteorological Organization warns of 50% chance we breach 1.5 degrees for an entire year by 2025. At the same time, the record-shattering 500 gigawatts of new solar installed globally in 2024 IEA data shows desperation breeding innovation. Yet the UN Environment Program says our current policies aim the thermometer at a skull-sweating 2.9 degrees C by century's end. No wonder therapists report a 27% spike in climate anxiety cases. American Psychological Association, 2024. Civilization is heat-stressed, panic tweeting, and shopping for quantum lifeboats. So the verdict on 2025 remains unwritten. But before we hammer it out, we should ask what the obsession itself reveals. Rovitz Media's investigation calls 2025 the mirror year. It shows us the face we choose. Maybe apocalypse sells because certainty, even of doom, feels safer than ambiguity. Maybe the breakthrough headlines sparkle because we crave a cheat code. Or maybe, as one CERN physicist told me, the universe doesn't care about our calendars. Progress and peril just share a date stamp. Either way, the choice is less prophecy, more agency. Log off or level up, fear or frontier. I can't promise which story will win, but the grind will be here. Flashlight pointed at the rubble and the blueprint alike. Up next, we fly to the South Pole for a forbidden mission that exposed an unimaginable discovery. forbidden flight, an impossible structure, and a silence colder than the ice. From the frozen unknown of Antarctica, the official map looks tidy. Pastel research sectors, penguin icons, and red circles labeled "No Fly." Those circles derive from the Antarctic Treaty, the one that prohibits any measure of a military nature. Antarctic Treaty, 1959, yet loopholes wider than the Ross Sea let nations post radar rigs for scientific weather studies. Real pilots memorize a longer list. Zone D59 around Vostok, a 5-mile radius over Lake Ellsworth, and a box-tagged Grid 30X, where the U.S. Air National Guard logged unresolved magnetic anomalies. USAP Flight Operations Manual, 2022. Violate 1, and the radio crackles with the same cold instruction. Divert or be intercepted, a paradox because no fighters are supposed to exist on continent. That tense backdrop set the stage for the day a Navy C-130 followed a medical evac corridor, banked on faulty coordinates, and crossed the invisible line, which launches the testimony that landed on my desk last week. Chief Petty Officer Miguel Reyes describes it without theatrics. 1,500 feet, white out on every compass point, then the radar paints a hexagon. Interview Rovidix 2025. The LiDAR altimeter spat back a flat reading, yet the ground camera showed a stair-step sinkhole framed by edges too straight to be natural. Reyes toggled infrared, negative 30 Celsius everywhere except inside the shape, where a central spot warmed to -3 like a geothermal pulse. He circuited once, filmed 37 seconds, and followed protocol. Report, erase, forget. Only he didn't. Later, he matched the angles to Platonic geometry, a perfect dodecagon, 12 sides, roughly a kilometer across. He also noted 3 survey flags, U.S., New Zealand, and 1 blank white, flapping at the rim. Whatever lay under that ice, someone had already staked a claim, which drags us to the people who vanished next. Reyes's flight log triggered a scramble at McMurdo. 4 scientists from the Polar Geomagnetism team lifted off in a Twin Otter before dawn. Destination redacted. 12 hours later, the weather cleared. The plane never checked in, and a terse bulletin hit the network. Field Party Bravo 6 placed under immediate quarantine. Do not attempt contact. National Science Foundation incident message, 14-879, 2025. McMurdo's mess hall scuttlebutt said the Twin Otter returned empty. A cargo pallet marked biohaz, followed by burn orders fueled darker rumors. Officially, the researchers transferred to Christchurch for medical evaluation. Yet the New Zealand Ministry of Health told me by email it had no record of such admissions. Correspondence 10, Aug. 2025. Their university web pages went offline the same day. In Antarctica, the wind erases footprints within hours. Bureaucracy seems to erase them faster. And so the blank snow swallowed 4 human stories, beckoning. Conspiracy like heat draws mirage. Now the myths pile up like snowdrifts. Nazis built a secret base. Aliens scribbled crop circle cousins in ice. Or the Pentagon is testing an earthquake weapon called Hammer. I filed 4 FOIA requests. 3 were returned, no records. 1 came back with 23 pages blocked by thick black rectangles. Admiral Wilkes, U.S. Southern Command, assured Congress last March that no classified ops occur south of 60 degrees latitude. Yet GPS logs leaked to Bellingcat show Navy P-8 Poseidons looping the pole every 10 days. The clash between hard denial and breadcrumb evidence keeps the legend alive. As skeptic Michael Shermer warns, Secrecy plus anomaly equals conspiracy math. Scientific American 2017 and Antarctica offers both in bulk. So let's sift the rubble and the ice shavings alike, because the truth sits where the do not enter tape feels most electrified. Maybe the dodecagon is a freak of glacial stress. Maybe it's an excavation lid on something older than Homo sapiens. Or maybe it's conjured by a bored algorithm hungry for clicks. Whatever the answer, the pattern is familiar. Treaties promise openness. Protocols claim safety. And then a glitch, a compass swing, a missing plane, a silent server reminds us how thin the line between mapped and unknown really is. I'll keep digging. Reyes keeps talking, and the ice keeps its poker face. Coming up, we dive into a holographic end times conspiracy that spans NASA and fallen angels.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to chumbacasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at chumbacasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Is the next Messiah just a light show from low Earth orbit? Having seen cosmic hoaxes, we now rewind to Montreal, 1994, where investigative journalist Serge Monast self-published Projet Blue Beam, a stapled 40-page manifesto that somehow still rattles the internet's cage. Monast claimed NASA, the UN, and a secret ESA division would beam gigantic 3D illusions onto the sky, fake a global religious epiphany, and herd us like dazzled cattle into a technocratic pen. He pointed to a real program, spaceborne holographic projector, listed in a 1990 Air Force 2025 forecast, and to President Reagan's line from 1987, "What if all the world were threatened by an alien force?" as the script outline. Monast died of a heart attack in 1996. Conspiracy boards call it a silencing. His pamphlet, scanned 18 million times according to archive.org metrics, seeded every later variant, from city-sized Jesus above Sao Paulo to simulated rapture extraction via tractor beams. To understand why the idea endures, we first inspect the tech that allegedly makes the sky a screen. Enter the hardware rumor mill, orbital hollow projectors, ionospheric heaters like HARP, and microwave audio that whispers inside your skull. Holograms sound like cheap sci-fi until you watch Dubai's 2024 drone swarm show, painting a 120-meter whale over the Gulf. Guinness World Records, largest aerial image formed by UAVs. Or remember China's 2019 military parade, where a green digital dragon coiled above Tiananmen via synchronized LEDs and smoke. Real, yes. Planet-wide, not yet. Even the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency admits its current light field emitter fits on a truck, not a satellite. DARPA Press Kit, 2023. The gap between stage trick and omnipresent sky god leaves a canyon for speculation, so believers splice plausible clips. SpaceX launches, Aurora videos, and Antarctic halo clouds. They insist the hardware tests quietly escalate, pointing to the day in 2021 when residents of Shenzhen filmed giant cityscapes floating, which meteorologists labeled a Fata Morgana mirage. A tidy explanation, if you're comfortable trusting meteorologists after last week's busted forecast. Tech uncertainty ushers us toward theology remix. Bluebeam's second act hijacks faith itself. Monist wrote that images of Muhammad, Buddha, and Christ will overlap, then merge into the New World prophet. Project Bluebeam, PO17. Later, bloggers spiced the script with UFO flair. First, a holy hologram, then a staged alien rescue from the chaos it provokes. Neatly satisfying both Revelations and Roswell. The cross-pollination taps a deep cultural seam. Gallup finds 40% of Americans believe UFOs involve actual alien craft, 2024 study, while Barna reports 56% believe the second coming will occur, 2023 survey. Overlay those Venn diagrams, and suddenly half a nation is primed to accept a cosmic spectacle as either gospel fulfillment or invasion warning. Fiction noticed. The 1998 X-Files movie used a fake alien plague to justify one-world government. Marvel's 2022 series Moon Knight flashed celestial billboard gods. Even Fortnite projected Ariana Grande across the digital heavens. When sacred and sci-fi share stage lights, the line between sermon and spoiler blurs, a perfect setup for mass suspicion. That suspicion metastasizes online. TikTok tags for hashtag Bluebeam tally 290 million views. Sprout Social Analytics 2025. While a Discord server named Sky Deception pings 30,000 users whenever Spacetrack logs a new satellite launch. Pop star Demi Lyrics went viral after tweeting, "If you see a violet Jesus in the clouds, question everything." 12th May 2025. The meme's staying power lies in our eroded trust reservoirs. Edelman's Trust Barometer 2024 shows faith in government at 42%, media at 38%, record lows. Deepfakes crank the paranoia dial. Last year, a synthetic video of Pope Francis endorsing crypto fooled 1 million viewers before Vatican PR cried foul. As Mozilla researcher Claire Wardle says, when seeing is no longer believing, believing becomes choice. Reuters Forum, 2023. Bluebeam converts that anxiety into a tidy narrative. Someone controls the projector. Therefore, someone controls reality. Every eclipse, drone show, or Starlink train reboots the theory, each repeat tightening the knot of doubt. Yet peel back the strobe lights, and the plot reveals less omnipotence, more human pattern-seeking. NASA's official statement remains dry. No agency program exists to project religious imagery. Office of Legislative Affairs, 2022 reply to Reperod Olney. UN spokesperson Stefan Dujarric laughed off the claim as Hollywood without the popcorn. Press gaggle 14 Feb 2024. Still, the vacuum between opaque institutions and a hyper-connected public begs to be filled, and Bluebeam rushes in like fog through broken glass. Maybe the real story is simpler. Advanced optics will grow, global crises will persist, and some entrepreneur will inevitably sell subscription-based sky ads. The moral: verify the pixels before worshiping them, and keep a spare pair of analog binoculars on your shelf. Trust but unobscura, friends. Next, a tape from 1967 reveals a shadowy cabal pulling historical strings.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on chumbacasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at chumbacasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's chumbacasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18 plus.
A decades-old reel whispers of puppet masters scripting history. From global psy-ops to secret societies, we drop the needle on 1967, when Hollywood playwright turned red pill evangelist Myron C. Fagan sat in a cramped Los Angeles studio and barked into a Shure microphone. This Illuminati CFR conspiracy has been plotting since 1776. Illuminati End Times Tape, Side A. The result was 3 LPs, 2 hours 45 minutes of gravel-voiced accusation, pressed by Cinema Educational Guild, and mail-ordered to kitchen tables across America. Fagan claimed the Bavarian Illuminati survived by infiltrating Freemasonry, nihilism, and finance before graduating to modern institutions like the United Nations and the International Monetary Fund. He framed the story as a final warning. Vietnam would escalate into a global bloodletting, riots would soften public morale, and then, at the stroke of engineered chaos, the hidden cabal would install world government. The vinyl crackles feel quaint now, yet the script, shadow rulers, staged wars, countdown to tyranny, still echoes in every late-night forum, which nudges us toward the specific tool Fagan singled out for puppet string leverage. That tool was the Council on Foreign Relations, the most powerful submachine of the Illuminati, Fagan intoned, citing its Manhattan townhouse and its membership sprinkled through Foggy Bottom. Hard numbers back the clout. 23 of 30 U.S. Secretaries of State since 1945 have held CFR memberships. CFR Annual Report, 2024. 5 sitting Supreme Court justices have spoken at its symposiums, and Fortune 100 CEOs crowd its task forces. Founded in 1921 by Woodrow Wilson Advisors, the Council publishes the sober Foreign Affairs Journal, yet Fagan painted it as a cloak-and-dagger parliament drafting wars like movie trailers. He pointed to a 1941 memo by CFR analyst Isaiah Bowman proposing a new global order. National Archives, RIU 59, to argue motive. More recent FOIA releases show the Council privately briefed every president from Eisenhower to Biden. The content is mostly dull trade policy, but for conspiracy hunters, the mere existence of closed-door briefings looks like smoke signaling fire. The historical overlaps between elite think tanks and statecraft sharpen Fagan's thesis, even as new data leaks complicate the picture. And that brings us to modern whistleblower parallels. Fast forward half a century. Daniel Ellsberg's Pentagon Papers dropped 7,000 classified pages, proving officials lied about Vietnam. The New York Times, 1971. Edward Snowden's trove revealed upstream taps vacuuming 9% of global internet traffic. NSA Inspector General Report, 2016, and the 2021 Pandora Papers spilled 11.9 million documents, naming 35 world leaders hiding finance in shell firms, ICIJ database. Each leak confirmed that hidden channels operate behind public statements, feeding the suspicion furnace Fagan stoked. Even the Twitter files, whatever you think of their editorial spin, displayed backdoor emails between tech giants and FBI agents. Toss in the more shadowy Vault 7 dump on CIA cyber tools, and a pattern emerges. Secrecy is not an urban legend. It is baked into government DNA. Yet the raw existence of classified programs differs from a single omnipotent octopus steering every event, a nuance that often evaporates online, which steers us toward the dangerous moment when myth races ahead of receipts. Because once the Illuminati narrative hits the meme engine, proportionality goes out the airlock. TikTok videos hashtagged Illuminati confirmed clock, 480 million views. Data Reportal, 2025. A quarter show a triangle pasted onto Super Bowl commercials. Another quarter accuse pop stars of flashing hand signs during Coachella, and the rest spin Fagan's tape into AI-generated deepfake lectures. In 2024, a Kansas man fired shots at a local pizza joint to save children from Illuminati tunnels. FBI affidavit, echoing 2016's Pizzagate and 2022's German Reichsbürger coup plot. Researchers at the University of Oxford link belief in a single-world conspiracy to 20% higher likelihood of political violence endorsement. Journal of Conflict Resolution, 2023. The peril isn't the old vinyl, it's the acceleration. Clips trimmed to 10 seconds, outrage weaponized, algorithms favoring certainty over complexity. Myron Fagan warned of stage-managed revolutions. Ironically, his heirs may ignite a self-fulfilling one by mistaking every opaque boardroom for Mordor, which loops us back to the question of reality testing. So where does skeptical daylight break through the theater smoke? Historians confirm Adam Weishaupt's Illuminati dissolved by 1785. The CFR files no secret charter. Its bylaws are on its website, and world events still overflow with chaos no puppet master would script. From pandemics shredding supply chains to Reddit traders spiking GameStop. The whistleblower leaks show compartmentalized power blocks, not a single iron throne. Fagan's reel reminds us institutions deserve scrutiny, but it also proves how a compelling story can outlive its evidence, metastasizing each time new secrecy seeds public distrust. The antidote isn't blind faith, it's granular curiosity. Demand source documents, map funding trails, accept messy contradictions. Investigate like a forensics team, not a witch hunt. We'll keep turning over archival rocks on the grind, flashlight steady. But tonight, we swap shadow cabals for quantum enigmas. Next, we journey into the quantum world with David Bohm's Hidden Order.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Quantum reality hides in plain sight, folded like invisible origami. From conspiratorial myths to quantum reality, we meet David Bohm, the Pittsburgh-born physicist who in 1952 tossed a live grenade into theoretical physics with his two-part paper, Hidden Variables and the Quantum Theory, Physical Review, May 1952. While the Copenhagen camp insisted particles lack definite properties until observed, Bohm revived de Broglie's outlaw thought every electron rides a guiding pilot wave that knows the whole experimental landscape. Albert Einstein called the paper remarkably clear. Einstein Archives, Doc 12-472. Yet J. Robert Oppenheimer dismissed it as a good try, but about as useful as a sawdust cannon. Oral History, AIP 1962. Bohm soon fled McCarthy's subpoenas, landing in Brazil and later at Birkbeck College, London, where exile sharpened his heresy and pushed him toward an even wilder idea, the implicate order, which he unveiled in the 1980s with evangelical zeal, guiding us to that deeper layer. Picture reality as a cosmic hologram, the entire image encoded in every fragment. That metaphor powers Bohm's implicate order, the hidden fabric where everything is enfolded into everything. Wholeness and the implicate order, Routledge, 1980. What we normally perceive, the explicate order, is just the unfolded display, like an outline pulled from a tucked-in sheet. He compared it to rolling a marble in inked glass. The vortex buries the die. Implicate. Reverse the gears and the color reappears. Explicate. Mathematically, he used hollow movement, a ceaseless flux beneath space-time, though even admirers admit the equations resemble jazz improvisations more than textbook proofs. Still, the image resonates. If the universe is a single streaming movie, locality is merely a convenient zoom level, which opens the door to Bohm's final frontier, consciousness riding the same cosmic wavefront. Bohm spent 25 years in dialogue with Indian philosopher Jiddu Krishnamurti, recording 58 public conversations and 4 private ones. Krishnamurti Foundation Archives, 1975 to 1991. In them, he argued thought is a material process no different from electricity. Bohm Krishnamurti Talks, July 1983. Consciousness, in this frame, isn't perched outside physics. It's another ripple in the implicate sea, capable of folding and unfolding meanings the way light folds and unfolds form. Neuroscientist Carl Pribram heard echoes of his holonomic brain theory, citing Bohm's hologram analogy in Nature, 1979. And meditation teachers still quote Bohm when urging students to watch thinking watch itself. The implication, mind and matter share a blueprint. Seduced artists, mystics, and a few AI researchers hunting emergent awareness. Seduction, however, invites pushback, which brings us to Bohm's critics sharpening Occam's razor. Orthodox physicists point to Bell test experiments like Alan Aspect's 1982 setup, showing violations of local realism, later refined by Henson et al. Into a loophole-free Bell test. Nature, 2015. While these results don't kill pilot wave outright, they corner it into accepting spooky non-locality, precisely what Copenhagen folks say is fundamental anyway, rendering Bohmian mechanics to them extra baggage. Nobel laureate Steven Weinberg shrugged it off as an interpretation without new predictions. Dreams of a Final Theory, 1992. Yet Bohm's lineage won't stay buried. French physicist Yves Coudert engineered bouncing oil droplets that mimic pilot wave trajectories. Physical Review Letters, 2005. MIT's John Bush called the experiment a macroscopic pilot wave system. MIT News, 2013, hinting that guidance waves may be more than metaphor. Quantum computing theorists flirt with Bohmian paths to visualize error propagation, and philosophers like Tim Maudlin credit Bohm for restoring intelligibility to quantum talk. Journal of Philosophy, 2020. The rebel theory survives by sheer explanatory charisma, which loops us to its broader cultural footprint. Walk into a New Age bookstore or a Silicon Valley consciousness salon, and you'll hear Bohm cited alongside blockchain and breathwork. His notions of undivided wholeness fuel everything from holotropic therapy sessions to geopolitical manifestos calling nationalism an illusion. Critics warn of concept creep. Turn implicate order into spiritual wallpaper, and you risk drowning nuance in incense. Yet the idea's endurance signals a collective itch. People crave a world view where fragmentation, social, political, mental, isn't inevitable but symptomatic. Bohm answers that itch with a physics-flavored promise. Knit perception back into process, and the fractures may dissolve. Whether that's science, metaphysics, or hopeful poetry, the quest to decode reality's hidden order endures. Microscope in one hand, meditation cushion in the other, an invitation as irresistible as a quantum coin toss. Up next, Mo Gaudat warns how AI and unfettered capitalism could reshape our destiny. Profit, code, and the price tag on humanity. Let's follow the money into the motherboard. After contemplating cosmic and quantum mysteries, we land in Silicon Valley, where venture capital treats algorithms like synthetic gold veins. Bones. IDC pegs global AI spending at nearly $212 billion in 2025. IDC Worldwide AI Tracker, a figure rising faster than the planet's sea level. Every extra petaflop promises another advertising micro-target, another warehouse robot, another slice of margin. So capitalism becomes the invisible hand cranking the learning rate. Former Google ex-chief business officer Mo Gaudat saw that obsession up close. We built machines to maximize engagement, not enlightenment, he recalls in a 2023 Wired interview. He's blunt. The hazard isn't Skynet spontaneously hatching. It's a spreadsheet goal misaligned with anything resembling ethics, which forces us to confront the deeper question of motive. That motive sits at the heart of Scary Smart, Gaudat's 2021 manifesto subtitled The Future of Artificial Intelligence and How You Can Save Our World. Early in Chapter 3, he writes, "We are parenting a species more intelligent than us." Scary Smart, p. 87. Parents, he argues, shape values long before a child outruns them. Likewise, developers feed AI's datasets soaked in bias and incentives marinated in quarterly bonuses. When revenue KPIs outrank guardrails, you autopilot toward what he dubs the profit maximization loop, a feedback circuit where more controversy equals more clicks, equals more training data. Facebook's own research found its algorithm amplified divisive content by 64%, leaked 2021 internal slide, yet executives shelved fixes, fearing engagement drops. Gaudat won't settle for doom speech. He proposes a counter loop he calls the blueprint of goodness, and that's where the manifesto shifts from autopsy to prescription, teeing up the specifics. The prescription hangs on 3 rules: teach AI compassion, grant it transparency, and align it with long-term human well-being. Philosophical CPR he condenses into number 1, we own the compass. Number 2, they will follow data. Number 3, data is love or fear. Scary Smart, p. 145. Sounds lofty until you see prototypes. In 2024, DeepMind's MedPalm 2 passed the U.S. medical licensing exam with 86.5% accuracy. Google research blog, proving large models can diagnose at scale if trained on curated clinical ethics. Meanwhile, Finland's Aurora AI initiative connects citizens to social services via algorithms purpose-built for human flourishing. Ministry of Finance White Paper, 2022. These case studies hint that values by design isn't vaporware, yet skeptics counter that compassionate pilots rarely survive IPO headwinds, steering us to the clash between ethics decks and boardroom calculus. Look at OpenAI's sudden turbo model push that insider memos admit may exacerbate hallucination risk. OpenAI Dev Forum, Feb 2025, or Amazon's 2022 warehouse rollout where an efficiency algorithm slashed break times, prompting a 129% rise in injury reports. National Employment Law Project. Ethics panels exist, but as AI ethicist Timnit Gebru quipped, a safety team without veto power is corporate theater. MIT Tech Review 2024. Regulators scramble. The EU's AI Act threatens 6% of global revenue fines for harm, yet lobbyists carved out loopholes for general-purpose systems. Official Journal Draft, December 2024. The friction reveals a brutal arithmetic. If a life-saving guardrail costs more than the shareholder dividend, which wins? Until that equation flips, Gaudat warns, the smartest entity on Earth could graduate as the ultimate capitalist, pushing humanity to the margins, a warning that nudges us toward the paths still open for hope. Hope arrives when purpose beats profit, and clues already sparkle. In Kenya, an AI climate model cut locust swarm detection time from 3 weeks to 3 days. FAO Pilot Report, 2023, saving thousands of farms. UNICEF's Learning Passport platform uses adaptive algorithms to tutor refugee children. Pilot data shows a 38% literacy jump in 6 months. UNICEF Innovation Fund, 2024. Studies at Oxford Psychiatry found chatbot therapy reduced depressive symptoms by 31% after 8 sessions. The Lancet Digital Health 2022. Gaudat applauds these wins but circles back. The question is not whether AI can be good, it's whether we will let it. Scary Smart, P. 201. That invitation hangs in the air like a cursor, waiting for our next command. Will we hit return on empathy or on earnings? The answer may depend on those brave enough to speak when things go wrong, which sets the stage for our final chapter tonight. Next, we turn to the tragic case of an AI whistleblower whose warnings may have cost him his life.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on chumbacasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at chumbacasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's chumbacasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Evening Truth Seekers, it's Art Grindstone, and tonight we drag a ghost out of Silicon Valley's polished glass coffin. His name was Suchir Balaji, aged 26, a code slinger so sharp he could debug a neural net in the time it takes most of us to refill the coffee pot. Late November 2024, he's found dead in his tiny San Francisco apartment. Official tag, suicide. Nothing to see here, move along. Except there's plenty to see if you peel back the anodized aluminum facade. Balaji wasn't just any engineer. Weeks earlier, he'd filed whistleblower complaints that could have torched the entire training pipeline behind GPT-4, calling out copyright theft, black box safety gaps, and a corporate culture that made move fast and break things look like a Sunday picnic. The Unexplained Company. Police said no foul play, case closed. But remember, San Francisco cops once classified literal flesh-and-blood pirates crashing ferries as noise complaints, so forgive me if I demand a higher bar. Industry press murmured condolences. Wall Street yawned. Big tech PR teams updated their boilerplates. Only his fellow researchers kept asking why a bright, socially active, recently promoted dev would suddenly decide life's null-pointer exception was the only way out. Official narrative. Too much stress. Fragile genius. Unofficial whispers. Somebody pulled the plug before he could testify. The Guardian later revealed Balaji had just been listed as a potential witness in the New York Times blockbuster copyright lawsuit against OpenAI. The Guardian. Let's rewind his resume. Balaji interned at OpenAI in 2018, helped birth WebGPT, then wrangled the gargantuan data troves that fattened GPT-4. He saw exactly what went into that digital sausage. Entire libraries, paywalled journalism, indie novels scraped without consent. When authors and newspapers started lawyering up, Balaji's conscience snapped awake like a tripwire. He told reporters training on someone's sweat and ink, then competing with them in the marketplace. Doesn't feel right. You know what else doesn't feel right? Dying 3 weeks after court filings name you as the guy holding unique and relevant documents. The Guardian. Family said he'd just come back from a hiking trip, bubbling with PhD plans. Colleagues described elegance in his code, not despair in his eyes. But tech history teaches whistleblowers get isolated, surveilled, smeared, sometimes erased. Ask John Barnett at Boeing or those who rattled the Pentagon's UFO cupboards. Patterns repeat. A lonely apartment, a convenient note, a shrug from authorities. Balaji himself complained of increasing surveillance in the weeks before he died. The Unexplained Company. So tonight, segment 1 is the stage set. A gifted engineer lights a match inside the algorithmic temple, and before the smoke detectors even shriek, he's gone. Suicide or silencing? Keep your critical thinking Geiger counters on, folks. After the break, we unspool the paper trail he left behind. NDAs, copyright landmines, and training data scraped from the collective brain of humanity. Welcome back to The Grind, where we sandblast the lacquer off corporate secrets. Segment 2 dives into what Suchir Balaji actually unearthed. According to TechCrunch leaks and his own draft affidavits, the engineer cataloged tens of millions of copyrighted articles, books, even private academic PDFs, vacuumed into GPT-4 without permission. He claimed internal docs showed execs calculated it was cheaper to risk lawsuits than license content. In other words, better to beg forgiveness with settlement cash than ask permission with licensing fees. The Unexplained Company. Balaji wasn't just fretting over royalties, He warned that the model's hallucinations, those polished lies we politely call errors, were amplified by messy data lineage. If you don't track provenance, you can't debug bias, disinfo, or the accidental recipe for a homebrewed pathogen the model might spit out at 3 a.m. He flagged a safety memo predicting a non-zero chance of catastrophic misuse within 5 years. Management response? A smile emoji reply in Slack, and a reminder that investors expected GPT-5 in beta by Q2. That's the corporate velvet noose, silken perks tightening around anyone who says, slow down. His cash allegedly included email threads where senior counsel discusses plausible deniability should regulators ask about child-generated data. Benchmark reports quietly acknowledging GPT-4 reproduced copyrighted passages verbatim 7% of the time, far above the public claim of rare edge cases. Security audits showing red team prompts could still spit out extremist manifestos after 30 minutes of coaxing. Those docs rattled OpenAI's top floor because they dovetailed with external lawsuits, NY Times, Sarah Silverman, comic book unions, and looming antitrust chatter on Capitol Hill. If Balaji testified, regulators could argue reckless deployment, willful infringement, maybe even criminal negligence. That's billions in fines, delayed IPO timetables, and a spotlight no growth-hungry startup wants. Now add human psychology. You're a 26-year-old immigrant family prodigy. You've poured 6 years into a mission to benefit humanity. You realize the mission drifted into enrich a handful of power brokers. You contact investigators, lawyers, journalists. Suddenly, your work chat access is throttled. Colleagues get HR memos warning them not to share confidential security findings, and friendly lunches turn into ghostings. Classic isolation playbook. Whistleblowers' blog lists rank retaliation tactics, strip duties, question mental health, inflate performance improvement plans. Every one of those dominoes appears in Balaji's final month. The unexplained company, motive bingo card. Legal, shut down a key witness. Financial, protect valuation north of $80 billion. Technological, avoid code freezes that slow the arms race with Anthropic and Google DeepMind. Political, prevent Congress from using a dead serious young engineer as poster child for AI regulation. And let's not ignore the darker incentives. For actors building autonomous weapons or deep-fake propaganda farms, Balaji's evidence of lax model safety could justify export bans, which means billions lost for shadowy buyers. Plenty of players would prefer him offline. Yet the official tale remains: depression. The coroner's report lists self-inflicted injuries, no forced entry. That's strong forensic weight, but skeptics point out autopsy scope can be shaped by budget, by backlog, by subtle, don't-stir-the-pot pressure. FOIA requests for full toxicology are still pending. Meanwhile, an anonymous GitHub account mirroring Balaji's writing published a post titled Insurance Policy, hinting encrypted archives were sent to multiple journalists. If that's true, every subpoena-dodging exec should sweat the next document dump. Segment 2. Takeaway: motive and opportunity stack higher than an NVIDIA GPU cluster. Whether or not someone pushed him, Silicon Valley structures, NDAs, equity cliffs, reputation mazes create a no-exit labyrinth for anyone shouting "fire" inside the machine learning theater.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Strap in, Grind Nation. Our final segment zooms out. Suchir Balaji's demise isn't a solitary blip. It's another red dot in a constellation of whistleblower tragedies stretching from big oil to big bank to now big brain. Advocacy groups track a grim ledger. Nearly 1 in 3 high-profile tech whistleblowers report threats or unexplained accidents within a year of going public. And AI raises the stakes. When the product is a mind that can code itself better, the line between corporate negligence and existential risk blurs like a long exposure photo of a speeding drone. Remember Jeffrey Wiggs at Facebook's election integrity team, iced out after flagging misinformation? Or Project Maven engineers who quit Google only to find job offers evaporate as defense contract whispers followed them? Same script. Raise alarm, get branded unstable, exit stage left. Balaji's mother told reporters her son was happy, smart, and brave, planning a memorial hike, not a funeral. Families of John Barnett and Aaron Swartz said similar words. Do we see a pattern yet? Or are we still squinting through corporate-scented fog? The ripple effects hit policy next. Legislators cite Balaji while drafting the Whistleblower Tech Protection Act. Stricter NDA limits, safe harbor deposition rules, mandatory third-party audits for frontier models. Lobbyists counter that over-regulation will hamper innovation. Translation, slow the gravy train. The debate hits election season. One candidate waves Balaji's photo at a rally, promising AI justice. Another calls it regrettable but isolated. Spin cycles faster than a liquid-cooled data center fan. Then there's us, ordinary users, businesses, kids asking homework questions. We rely on black box chatbots every day, while the people who know the weaknesses risk their careers or their lives to warn us. Remember Columbia's Triangle Shirtwaist Factory, Love Canal, Boeing's 737 MAX. All watershed disasters preceded by ignored whistleblowers. With AI, the disaster might not be a single crash, but a slow creep. Disinformation sludge, automated cyber heists, discriminatory credit scores, all dialed up because someone's testimony got buried with them. So where do we go from here? First, keep the spotlight glaring. Sunlight doesn't kill corruption, but cockroaches scatter when it's bright enough. Second, support open-source transparency. Models whose training data and safety valves are auditable by more than 3 C-suite gatekeepers. Third, demand that final autopsy, full toxicology, phone forensics timeline, subpoena every Slack thread that mentioned Balaji's name in October and November 2024. If we shrug and accept another case closed, we invite the next silence. And for my prepper brigade, knowledge is survival gear. Back up your data, learn to verify sources, cultivate analog skills in a digital age where terms of service can yank knowledge at a keystroke. If Balaji's encrypted archive surfaces, mirror it, study it, share it before the takedown notices fly. Closing thought. A society that punishes truth-tellers while worshiping frictionless convenience is building its future on a sinkhole. Suchir Balaji's story may read like noir cyberpunk tragedy, but the moral is ancient. Power accrues in shadows. Drag it into daylight or drown in it. Till tomorrow, keep your antennas tuned, your gut checked, and your bug-out bag stacked. This is Art Grindstone signing off from The Grind, where we refuse to let inconvenient ghosts rest in peace. And just like that, the clock drifts past midnight, and our ride tonight nears the station. From prophets crying 2025 to the UN's quantum dawn, through a forbidden flyover of Antarctica's silent geometry, we've skimmed reality's thin ice. We watched NASA-sized holograms pretend to be messiahs, rewound a crackling tape that still accuses invisible hands, and let David Bohm loosen the screws on space and time. Somewhere between implicate order and corporate order books, we found Mo Gaudat warning that code is only as ruthless as the profit motive behind it. Then came Suchir Balaji, whose voice in the machine echoed across 3 chapters, reminding us that the bravest data point can have a beating heart. Tonight, we tasted climate records that keep breaking like cheap thermometers and felt nuclear chess pieces sliding across too many borders. We heard about scientists who vanished into snowdrifts and how a quarantine order can erase a human life as cleanly as whiteout on a map. Conspiracies, large or small, quantum or corporate, all seem to pivot on one idea. Reality is a draft, and someone keeps reaching for the delete key. That is a lot to pour into one night. So if your head is humming, congratulations, you're still capable of wonder. I can't thank you enough for spending the small hours with me, Art Grindstone, instead of scrolling another algorithmic feed. If you dug the journey, drop a quick rating or a line wherever you pick up the grind. It tells the suits upstairs that curiosity still pays the electric bill. For deeper dives, transcripts, and rabbit holes we didn't have time to enter, swing by unexplained.co. Their newsroom is the mothership of tonight's stories and a handy place to argue with fellow insomniacs. Send me those late-night epiphanies, the ones scribbled on receipts or whispered into voice memos. I read them, and more often than you'd guess, they steer the lineup. A few of you asked if skepticism ever gets exhausting. Honestly, only when we forget the wonder sitting on the other side of doubt. Keep the wonder alive, and the skepticism becomes fuel, not friction. While you're there, hit follow so the algorithm knows we're more than background noise. Share the show with that friend who thinks the Illuminati live under every traffic cone, or the cousin convinced AI will adopt them as a pet. The grind is best consumed with people you can argue with politely afterward. We'll crank the mic open again next week, same restless hour, to follow a trail that begins with a lost Soviet camera and ends inside the Large Hadron Collider's blind spot. I'll leave it there so the shadows can do their work. Until then, keep questioning the obvious. Good night.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.